Our superpower is allowing you the ability to make your ticket sales more accessible to all and increase those ticket sales so that you can get more butts in the seat and have a greater impact in the world.
Today, I brought into Greenroom Central Studios Chase Kraft. He's the CEO and founder of My Abundant. Chase has been involved in the coaching and personal development space for over a decade. The bulk of that time spent starting and scaling Mommy Millionaire, a coaching company he and his wife Kayla Kraft built together. His time and experience in the coaching industry led him to create My Abundant, a buy now, pay later alternative financing company for coaches. His passion is to make personal development accessible for everyone, no matter their financial situation. He's a father of 3 wonderful kids and enjoys spending his time watching his boys play hockey and being his daughter's biggest cheerleader at her musicals. While Chase doesn't personally host events, he supports those who are hosting events by providing their event participants flexible payment options for purchasing event tickets, allowing hosts to convert more ticket sales by making it more accessible for people, and also giving them working capital up front from those ticket sales to help offset the hard cost of the event. Hey there, Chase. Welcome to Greenroom Central Studios. Say hello to Linchpin Nation.
Hey guys, excited to be here. Thank you, Sarah, for having me on.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here because I'm super excited to share about what your company's up to, because I think it's a game changer in the digital product personal development space.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share.
So let's get into it and talk about your superpower. I always like to ask people, what is their superpower as it relates to events? And you kind of have a very unique one, so give it to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So as some of you know, my company, My Abundant, we offer buy now, pay later alternative financing for the coaching industry. And our superpower as a company, and this is a mission that I had when I created this company, is we make your products and your vision and your message more accessible to all. And that is the mission at My Abundant. And I really think that our superpower is allowing you to have a greater impact in the world, getting your message into more people's ears, and getting those butts and seats at events, which is so important because you're on a mission to create value into the world. You're on a mission to create more impact with the people that you come in contact with. And the way that you do that at events is getting butts in the seats. And our superpower is allowing you the ability to make your ticket sales more accessible to all and increase those ticket sales so that you can get more butts in the seat and have a greater impact in the world.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I think it really hits home for me because my life was changed by getting into the room. And it was at a personal development event. And prior to that, I think I was age 36, I didn't even know rooms like this existed. Yeah. And it was life-changing. And just to underline that, within 10 months of being in that room, I had paid off all debt that we'd been sitting under for 15 years. I had moved my family across the country and left my corporate career of 16 years. Wow. I mean, those are massive shifts.
Yeah.
Started my own business. And it all came from getting in the room. And I just can't imagine where I'd be right now if I wasn't able to find my way from a financing perspective into that room. Yeah. Thankfully, I had the funds, but I know there's so many people whose lives could be changed if they were able to pay over time.
Yep.
And not every event is going to be a low ticket where it makes it easy to get in the room. And that's by design. And I think, especially even at the higher tiers, when you get further up in this business, the ticket prices go up naturally. Yeah. And I think
VIP options, the whole thing. Yeah.
Right. And I think it makes sense to have financing options. We'll get more into it in a little bit, but
for sure,
that is kind of my story of how I got started into this space and how just being able to fund getting in the room changed my life. What I would love to know is, what's the story of how My Abundant got started?
Yeah, absolutely. So my experience and my story of being in a room and getting into that first event started a little over 10 years ago. And I attribute that intro to my wife, Kayla, who's amazing. And she was the one that kind of, pioneered that, if you will, for our family. And I was that, that resistant husband. Didn't want anything to do with it. Didn't want anything to do with personal development. We got started in network marketing. That was kind of our intro into entrepreneurship, into the personal development world, all that stuff. And one thing that network marketing companies do really well is they throw amazing events, and they're loud, they're energetic, they're a little bit on the crazy side, especially from an outsider coming in. And I remember sitting in that first big, celebration event that they have. They have their big global event every year. I think there was like 13,000 people in the room.
Wow.
And I was, totally new to this world, totally new to entrepreneurship. I was working in the oil fields at the time, working for my dad in Bakersfield. And I remember sitting in that room going, these people are absolutely have lost their minds. Like this is like, what are people talking about of manifesting and dreaming and going after your dreams and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just so content with, with being in my job that I have and working my long hours every day and being away from the home and all that stuff. And so, but there was a pivotal moment in that event that I particularly remember. And I just remember just kind of sitting back and going, what if this could be for me? What if I could, open up my heart and open up my mind to think what else is possible for my life. And from that moment, it was like, okay, I came home. I think Kayla had been in network marketing for a year, maybe 2 years at that time. I was super unsupportive, didn't help her at all. Would tell her that she's crazy, all that stuff. Like I was the typical unsupportive husband, probably to the 10th degree. And I remember coming home and just telling her, all right, I'm in with you. Like, let's do this thing. Because I really caught the vision. I caught the dream. I was like, okay, this could happen for my life. This could happen for my family. And that totally changed the trajectory of both of our lives at that moment. Obviously for her, it, just lit a spark underneath her to, she was killing it without me, but having my support, being there, even though I wasn't involved in building her business, helping her build her network marketing business at the time, I was supportive. I'd be, I would have the kids whenever she needed to host an event. I was supportive of her traveling and going and seeing her team and all that kind of stuff. And so that just completely changed the trajectory for our family, and it all started at that one event that I caught the vision,
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I did the same thing. So I went to my first personal development event, and it was just unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And it definitely turned me away from being a skeptic about all this personal development stuff and woo-woo, and it, totally dialed in. And I came home just like lit on fire. And I told my husband, I need to get you into one of these rooms because I don't even know how to describe what just happened and what's going on inside of there and the type of people that you're going to meet. And so a few months later, the mentor that I had gone to was putting on another one, and we got our first babysitter ever and went away for 4 nights to this event. And it was like he came home the same as you, just like, wow, this is I'm all in. Like, this is crazy how life can change in an instant.
Yep.
So for those of us who might be like me, who are not familiar with Mommy Millionaire, share a little bit about, it sounds like your wife started in network marketing and then made a jump to something else.
Yeah. So at the time of that event, I think it was like 2012, 2013 maybe. And her business started doing really well with network marketing. And obviously I came on board and was being very supportive, but I wasn't involved in the business at all. And then she hit a point with her business where it was like, I was working for my dad at the moment, or at the time, and he would always like get on me. He was like, dude, you have to like cash your checks in. Like, I have to reconcile my banking and accounting and all that stuff. And you have 4 checks sitting in my office waiting for you to pick up and cash, because she was making so much money with network marketing that it was like, we didn't even care about what my paycheck was at that point. And so I was sitting there going, okay, and this was 2014.
Did your dad know?
Oh
Why?
yeah, he knew.
Okay.
Yeah, he knew.
Okay.
They didn't understand, like, he's, our family business started by my grandpa in the 70s. My dad took it over in the 90s. Very traditional business owners. They have no idea the digital marketing or digital,
Sure.
entrepreneur space. So they were just like mind blown that we could even, make all this money, basically talking to people over the phone and online, right?
Sure.
Showing up with a personal brand. So social media was pretty new at the time. Instagram was pretty new at the time. It was just like the Wild West. And so, in all that, I was actually at an event in 2014. That was another event for this network marketing company, and I was golfing with the founder's son, and a couple other guys, and they were just like pouring into me, like, dude, you have so much more for your life. You have so much more for your life, right? And again, another thing where you're just surrounded by the right people, you're in the right room.
Yes.
And so, they just furthered my belief in myself, furthered my belief in my family, of us being able to make something more for our lives. And at that moment after that event, I told Kayla, I was like, I think I need to join you in this. I think I'm going to quit my job. And I was positioned with my dad to obviously be the third generation,
Yes.
take the helm. I was 24 at the time. I'd been working for my dad since the day I graduated high school. I was, very well known in my industry. I was, ran one of his divisions of his company at the time, general manager. Like I had, the keys to the kingdom basically. And I really just feel called that I had more for my life than this job. And so I came home and I told Kayla, I was like, I think I need to do this. And July of that year of 2014, I left my job with my dad and joined her in the network marketing world, and started helping her build that business. Quickly found out that wasn't my thing. I wasn't a network marketer. I was great at managing people. I was great at training and all that stuff, but man, I couldn't recruit to save my life. That was like not my thing. And so, went through that massive identity shifts in my life, right? Like going from, having, a purpose within, my job, working for my dad, being very, very well known. I was managing 30 employees. Like I was the man.
Yeah.
And then quickly went into, oh, you're Kayla Craft's husband. Oh, that's cool. Like it was a massive, so I went through a couple of years of like, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm kind of just like, trying to fumble my way through this entrepreneurship thing. Am I an entrepreneur? I don't know. Like, it was a big life shift for me for those couple of years until we started Mommy Millionaire, and then I kind of like found my groove a little bit of like, okay, I can build more of a traditional business. This feels more in alignment with me. Kayla and I both came on board of like, hey, we're going to build this thing together. She's obviously, being Mommy Millionaire, she was obviously the front facing, product, if you will. But I really took ownership of all the back end stuff. So I was basically acting as the CEO of the company. I was hiring our employees. I was developing our marketing efforts, taking her vision and essentially putting legs to it was kind of, my role in that. And, we built a very successful company, with Mommy Millionaire. Mommy Millionaire is basically, a online coaching brand for entrepreneurial moms.
Okay.
And it kind of opened up to women, in general, but our main focus was moms, that wanted to build their own personal brands, that wanted to build online businesses,
Sure.
the natural progression of that was a lot of the network marketing women that wanted, something more than network marketing, wanted to build their own brand, have their own coaching products. That kind of stuff was a kind of the transition for us. A lot of our clientele there. And so, we built and scaled that company to a multiple 7-figure, online coaching business. And so that's how I kind of got my background in the coaching industry, which then obviously led me to start My Abundant. But I've been a part of the personal development and coaching industry for a very long time, through obviously the network marketing and then transitioning into building Mommy Millionaire.
Yeah, so I can really see through your story why you're so passionate about making personal development accessible and that being the
Yeah,
ethos of your company.
absolutely.
I get that. And I resonate so much with that because it's just mind blowing to me that I didn't know that the personal development space existed before age 36.
Yeah.
And I think that's way too late. And I would have made high school so much easier
Yeah.
if I had just had some confidence and just like some tactics in my tool belt in that space. And
Yeah.
you better believe it that when my kiddo is age appropriate to get in the room at a personal development event, we will be there together. Because
Well,
I
what's
just
cool
feel
about parenting, being a parent, you're able to start instilling that kind of stuff in their subconscious mind, right? Like,
so true.
my oldest is an athlete. He plays, a very high level, of ice hockey. And, part of his development as an athlete, as a elite athlete, is the mind, right?
Yes.
We're constantly just, giving him those tools in his tool bag to deal with, sports anxiety and, giving him confidence by, all the tools in the personal development industry that we learned, to now, raise our kids that way. So
It's almost as if I practice it every day because I believe in therapy for everybody in the family now. And my kiddo's therapist was like, well, just start sportscasting what you're doing and how you're thinking through things. And so then I'm using what I'm learning in the books that I read and, with my therapist and in the courses that I've taken and the rooms that I've been in to just like be able to sportscast my way through my day.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we just like have much deeper conversations about all sorts of things like that I just never had growing up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could just already see how it's making such a massive difference. And it's so exciting as a parent.
Yep. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's cool when you see them start to pick up on that stuff without you even having to, foster any of those types of conversations,
Yeah.
So
I want to shift a little bit and talk about when you started noticing inside of your company with your wife that there was a need for an alternative financing option for people who are buying event tickets or retreat tickets or someone who's buying a conference ticket or a digital course or any sort of like online program. What were you noticing?
yeah, absolutely. So obviously, we started Mommy Millionaire, and one of our big, products was that we did annual live events that were so powerful. But as you know, and as probably a lot of the listeners know, there's a lot of barriers and a lot of hurdles that you have to go through when hosting your own event, right? You have to, pay a lot of money up front to secure hotels, to secure rooms. If you're offering room blocks, you're paying, the event planners, the stage production team, the AV team, securing speakers if you're having to pay speakers, right? Like there's a lot of expenses that come with offering, your own live events. And it was something that we were passionate about because we knew the power of people getting in that room. Like it was so evident when Kayla would get up on that stage, like people's lives were going to change. No doubt about it. And we've got to physically see it. Like it's hard when you're a digital entrepreneur and you're selling coaching products, group coaching, you don't really get to see those, one-on-one transformations that people have. But when you have people in seats in a live event and you're, getting to physically see people have life transformations before your eyes, like it just gives you the fire that you want to continue to do that stuff. But there's obvious barriers, right? You need working capital in order to secure, all those expenses up front. And then you're hoping, okay, I hope that I can, secure enough ticket sales to at least be you know, like even when the
Yes.
event, comes, right? Like I want to be out of the red by the time that first day event, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. You're giving tickets away to fill seats, and a lot of people want to come, but they can't afford the ticket. They can't afford the ticket price plus the hotel plus the travel plus
Right.
everything else, right? All of a sudden, a $1,000 ticket becomes a $5,000 weekend because you have the food and the travel and the stay.
Right.
And so, making that more affordable without you actually having to offer your own payment plans for that, because obviously that is kind of what's common in the industry. That's changed. It's changing over the last couple of years, but it's most common that the hosts themselves and the coaches themselves offer their own payment plan, which then comes with another multitude of different issues, right? Of people defaulting on payments. What do I do if somebody isn't paid in full by the time the event happens? I need to tell them that they can't come because they defaulted, and
Right.
now people are asking for refunds and cancellations, and it's just, you're not good at collections, right? That's not your expertise as a coach, right?
Exactly.
Your expertise is showing up and transforming lives, and you just need people to get in the room. And that's where I really saw a need in the industry a couple of years ago, back in 2020, was, I didn't want to have to offer, at that time we weren't doing a ton of live events, but we were doing, coaching certification programs. We were doing, one-on-one coaching. We were doing group coaching stuff, and so we had a lot of high ticket offers within Mommy Millionaire. But we were really struggling with the fact that I wanted to completely get out of the payment plan worlds, right? I wanted people to pay me in full. I wanted that working capital up front, and I didn't want to have to manage any of the payment process anymore, and having those awkward conversations with people that are in a financial struggle at that moment, or they can't pay me.
Yeah.
Or it just becomes, once you involve finances along with the personal development and coaching, it just gets muddy and weird. And so I was like, okay, I need to find a better way to make my products accessible for people, because obviously if I just require people to pay me in full, I'm going to limit the amount of people that I can have impact
Absolutely.
on, right? And so that sent me on a mission for Mommy Millionaire. I'm like, I'm going to go find somebody that can help us with this, right? I'm going to find alternative financing options for me to, make my products accessible for people and still be able to capture that revenue. But I went on that mission and did not succeed. I tried, all of the different firms and Klarnas and went to local lenders, and I spent about a month trying to research something that would work with this industry. And at the time, there was nobody, or at least I wasn't able to find anyone at that time.
I think I still run into this every single day, that there are people that do not know that this industry even exists. And obviously I was one of them for 36 years.
Yeah.
Just not even an awareness. Like, I am aware that there's people in the world who are stock traders. I'm aware that there's people who are trash collectors, but like, I did not even know that there was this personal development world where people had online courses and they had like events that I could go to. I just didn't even know. And so I imagine that the financing world is kind of like that, where a firm probably was like, what are you selling?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that
Yeah.
even? Whereas I used a firm when I bought my Peloton. It was like and I'm sure that's an easy thing for them, because they're like, oh yeah, it's like a physical thing. We know what it is. Like, this is normal. People have been buying, sports equipment for their homes, exercise equipment for ages. But this, different.
Well, what makes it hard from a lender's perspective in this industry is one, you're not getting a real physical product at the end of the day, right? So like you mentioned a firm, right? You get financing a firm for a phone, right? That you have your phone in your hand. I have a physical product here. I can't deny that I received this.
Yes.
And so from a lender's perspective, you don't have a physical asset or product. It's very subjective, right? A lot, and then also the product that you're offering is dependent on you as the coach showing up and offering that product and that service, right?
And the consumer even like
Totally. The
using
consumer
it,
showing up, right?
consuming
Like
it.
it's so subjective. And I always use the analogy of Tony Robbins, right? If I was financing Tony Robbins, for one of his
UPW.
events,
Yeah.
yeah, $10,000 ticket price or whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? And then all of a sudden Tony Robbins passes. As a lender, I'm gonna have a big problem on my hands because people paid for that ticket and financed that ticket to go and see Tony Robbins. And even if his understudy is just as good, it's not Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Right? So his whole business is relying on Tony Robbins showing up and doing his, what product and service that he promised these people. So from a lender standpoint, it's very high risk and subjective. But so for people that don't know the industry and don't know the characters involved in offering these products and service, it's a heck no for them because there's too much risk. So that's where, me being in the industry for so long, knowing the industry so well, I know, I always say that I've been in the industry long enough that I'm one contact away from pretty much anybody in the industry, and so I have, I can vet people. I can say, hey, one of my best friends, Chris Harder. Hey, Chris Harder, can I, do you know this guy? Oh yeah, I know him. He's great. Cool. Like I can vet the process a little more because I'm immersed in this industry, and so it allowed me the capability of like, okay, I think this is less risky for me, right? It's less risky for me because I'm in it. I know it. Like I know what these coaches want. I know what the coaches need. I know what the consumers want and need. I know how to provide that service for them well. I know. Like I've said, I'm one contact away from pretty much anybody in the industry. I'm well connected. Like I can limit my risk in this.
Yeah.
And so that's where, when I started going down the road of trying to find a lender that would work with us and I couldn't find anyone, I was like, well, shoot, like this is a big need. Obviously, if I'm looking for it, other people are looking for it. And why don't I just start it on my own? I'll just become a finance guy for the coaching industry. And little did I know that was a big, bite to chew. I had no, prior experience in finance. Like all I knew was the coaching industry, and I knew that there was a need, and I needed it, and I wanted it. Therefore, I knew that other people needed it, wanted it, and so I got thrown to the wolves, if you will. And so it took me a while to really, figure out the product that I wanted, figure out how to, one of the biggest things for me is I wasn't familiar with the finance industry. I didn't know how to go and get capital in order to give these people working capital, right? In order to be a lender, you got to have money. You got to be a bank. Or you got to be networked with other lenders and banks where you can kind of like broker their products.
Sure.
And so that was my biggest hurdle when I started this. It was like, I know what I want to build. I know how to do it. But how do I get the money to lend? Like if I'm a lender, I gotta have money. And then I started coaching with, my good buddy, Gerard Adams, who probably a lot of people know, very well known in the coaching industry. I started coaching with him for Mommy Millionaire at the time because I was still involved in Mommy Millionaire and building that. But I had this like little thing over the side with My Abundant that was like kind of a pipe dream that I knew I wanted to build, but I had no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
And I was in Gerard's house and I started telling him about this, and he was like, "Bro, like, what are you doing? You need to stop whatever you're doing in Mommy Millionaire. Let Kayla, take the reins on that. Hire someone to do your job in Mommy Millionaire, and you need to go and run with this because this is genius." And he said, "It's like this is life changing for this industry. Like you need to go."
Yeah.
And it was at that time. And then he said, "You know what? I have the perfect guy for you. I need to introduce you to my buddy who's in the lending industry. Like he is going to be, if he doesn't like want to be a part of this with you, he's going to know how to connect you with the right people to be a part of it." And so right then and there, he dialed the phone, got on the phone with my partner, Chris Gravagna, and we started chatting. And within 30 minutes, I had a flight booked to New York to go meet him there in like 2 weeks, and flew out to New York, and it was like a bromance right off the bat. Like we hit it off, and by the end of that 4-day trip to New York, we were partners, and the rest is history. Like he's a great dude, wealth of knowledge in the lending industry, been in the lending industry for, over a decade. And he really just has helped me, take my vision. And he's also in the personal development industry. That's how he knows Gerard and is connected with him. And he's really invested into the personal development industry as a part of the Tony Robbins Platinum Club and all that stuff. And so he really caught the vision of what I was trying to do. And he was like, dude, we can have so much impact doing this. Like, let's run. And so, from that time, and I think that was like the end of 2021 to now, we've built a bunch of tech. We have our own capital. We don't have to, go out and work with other lenders and banks. We are the bank, which is so powerful for us because we get to control how we spend our money. We're not subject to lenders and banks that don't know the industry, that aren't connected to the people, that don't, at any moment, those other lenders and banks can say, you know what, this industry is just too foreign to us. We're going to pull out, right? We are the bank. We are the ones that make that decision. We are invested into this industry, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And so, that's how we got going.
Okay, so I'm a super detail-oriented, like, operations kind of girl.
Yeah.
So I would love to get into how this works so people understand how they add this into their current payment flow for their events. And last time we met, when we were talking about seeing if we could make this podcast a reality, I had you show me what it looks like. And I was so impressed because one of my biggest soapbox moments that I have with event ticket sales is I love it when business owners understand that the less friction between I want to buy the ticket and I've bought the ticket, the better. And like we can wait on their on their t-shirt size until after they've pressed the buy button.
100%.
And I think it's hard for some people to get past, but I know that it increases conversions if we can just get down to just exactly what's needed. And obviously adding in basically it's like taking on a loan in between that process of like I want to buy and I've bought can perhaps bring up some unease for people going, oh, how would that be easy, or is it going to add too much friction? And I've seen it, and it doesn't add hardly any friction, and it's easy, and it's almost seamless feeling. And so I love that. But let's talk about, so we've got our event, we got it up for sale, and normally I'm a Kajabi user. I would just put the event up for sale on Kajabi, and it would be the ticket price, or I'd perhaps have a secondary offer, and it would be like 3 easy payments of whatever. But if I'm doing the, as you call it, financing it myself by putting the 3 payment option out there, then I don't get any money up front. I have to wait. Well, I get probably the first payment up front, and then I have to wait for the other 2. Meanwhile, I'm accruing expenses for this upcoming event, like having to put a deposit down at the hotel, perhaps having to pay for some speaker fees or buy swag, whatever the case may be. So talk us through now, what do we do to then use My Abundant, and how does that, what pressure does that alleviate for us?
Yeah, for sure. So when I built this, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. I knew what worked in other industries, particularly like the buy now, pay later industry. So I had seen Klarna, I had seen Afterpay, I had seen Affirm and PayPal and all those things that have started to realize that consumers want they want speed, mm-hmm. and they want it to be easy for them to sign up for something, right? And to do the new layaway product, And so when I had the vision to build My Abundant, I'm like, I don't need to reinvent this wheel. I need to just take all the great things about those other products that aren't offering services for this industry, and I need to adapt it to what that is, right? Yeah. And so that's kind of what we built, right? I always, use Affirm as kind of, because most people know kind of what Affirm is. Yeah. If you don't, it's basically just a payment plan version of, for the retail industry is kind of what Affirm is, right?
Yeah, it's like you can pay with MasterCard or Visa or Discover or Affirm. It's like just becomes a choice, right?
Anybody
Yeah.
that's bought anything online in the last 2 years will know, even if you don't know what Affirm is, you've seen it, right? It'll
I
say,
was
I can
buying,
buy this t-shirt for $12
yeah,
payments, right?
I was buying groceries on Instacart yesterday. They're like, but you could do it. I think it was Klarna on Klarna for, X number
Yeah,
of easy payment. I'm like,
crazy.
no, it's
Yeah,
groceries.
yeah.
I don't need a payment
Airplanes,
plan.
hotel stays, like it's taken over the retail
Yeah.
online buying experience, and I think all of this kind of stems back to back to Amazon, right? Amazon kind of changed the way that consumers buy, and everybody's just kind of been adapting to that and finding new ways for new, easier, faster ways for people to make purchases. And so that's kind of the way that we built it, right? And then I took my experience from the coaching industry and from being a digital marketer for many years of I want to remove any barrier that I possibly can to get conversions, right?
Yes.
When I was in working Mommy Millionaire and doing all my digital marketing stuff, it was all about my conversion rate.
Yes.
Like what kind of, I'm going to change copy, I'm going to change colors, I'm going to change all these things. Where are the buttons at? Where are the pictures at? Like it's just all testing, right? And
I
you're
love
changing
everything
stuff.
that's coming out of your mouth right now.
Yeah, and you're just changing as much as you can all the time to try and increase that conversion rate by 0.5% or 1%, And so with that in mind and that experience, I was like, okay, I need to build something that isn't going to affect conversion rates for my clients when they're dealing with digital checkouts. And the friction and the barriers aren't there. It's really easy. It's really fast, right? For people to make a sale. And so we built a product for that, right? We built the Affirm, if you will, for the coaching industry. So it's instant checkout. There is no waiting time for approval. Your clients, we even have, our branded buttons, just like PayPal or Apple Pay or all those things where you can add onto your checkout page for people to purchase with flexible payment options, right? We kind of position it as a payment plan, if you will, kind of like Affirm does, right? You can sign up for this for $12 4 payments for $12, right?
Yep.
Whatever that looks like. So that's the way that we built it out, right? So they, your client, you have the button on your page, on your checkout page, so people can either, pay with their credit card and pay you in full for, $1,000, or they can make, 12 easy payments of whatever. And then they click on our button and we build out customized URL links for you that's custom with your branding and our branding, and your client goes through the process. It's super fast and easy. They get automatic approvals right then and there on the checkout page, and they can convert and make their first payment, and then they're back into your program within minutes. And so there's no wait times. We actually have 100% approval product. So anybody that goes through the link gets approved for some sort of a payment plan. And we have different payment options that we pay you out on the back end for different levels, tiers of credit worthiness of your clients. Sure. But I really wanted to, and the reason that we kind of built out the 100% approval model is I created this so that I could remove the payment plan process from the coaches, right? Coaches are not good collectors. Most of them are too empathetic to be good payment collectors, right? They get, they have such big hearts. They want to help people, and in turn, a lot of times they get taken advantage of because they aren't, good payment collectors. So I didn't want to kick someone back to the coach and say, sorry, I can't approve this person. Now you're going to have to figure out what to do with them. Either you lose that revenue, or now you're back in the payment collection business that you shouldn't be in, that you're trying to get out of. That's why you're working with me in the first place. And so I wanted to eliminate that. I wanted to eliminate the ability for a client to get cold feet, right? If there's a wait time, they submit an application and there's a 48-hour wait time for them to get an approval. And say I gave them approval after 48 hours. Well, now they've sat on it for 48 hours and they decided it's not for them, right? And now you lost a conversion. So I tried to eliminate all of those things with our product. And that's kind of, I think my experience in the coaching industry really helped me in building a really good product for this industry in that way.
I'm hearing it. Everything that you've thought of, the level of detail that you've gone into thinking of this, and how to build My Abundant really tells me that you've lived and breathed this industry. You get it.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. So then what you're saying is that, let's say we offer the full pay on in our normal channels, but then we offer the payment plan via My Abundant, and then My Abundant then takes care of all of the servicing of that payment plan. So if someone
Yep.
misses a payment, you handle reminding them or working on the collecting. Like, so that's just completely out of our hair. Is that
Yep.
how it works?
That's exactly
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We have a full in-house collections and retention team. We have a full legal team in-house. So as soon as that client makes their first payment through that link, and they have, you make a conversion, and that person's either has a ticket to your event or in your coaching program
Yeah.
or whatever that may look like, we handle everything from there. So any payment collections that are needing to be done, payment reminders, updating credit card or banking information for payment, methods, all that stuff is handled by us.
Wow.
You just get ACH bank transfers into your bank account. So it's,
And you said most of the time, then you get the coach gets paid up front for the full price of whatever was sold. Sometimes if the creditworthiness was a little bit lower, then it's like overtime.
yeah.
So that's pretty helpful then for getting those deposits paid for the
Yeah.
upcoming event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few different ways that we pay out, and it's all determined on the creditworthiness of the client. And so, prime and super prime clients, obviously, those are great borrowers. We give you money up front for, and then, some of the subprime or, super subprime, we pay out a little bit differently. But either way, we're managing the payment process. You're getting working capital up front for, some of your payment plans. Rather than you offering all your own payment plans and just, having extended receivables for, foreseeable future. So, it really, our goal is, and we're constantly trying to fit, because we are the bank, we have the flexibility to constantly mold and form that to what we feel that our coaches need,
Yeah.
right? If we, obviously our goal is to get as much money into your pocket as possible day one. And so we're constantly trying to find creative ways for us as a lender, because we are the bank, to mitigate our risk. Obviously, our main goal is to get our money back, right? As a
Yeah.
lender, that's our main goal. But also, mitigate our risk, but also give you the options of having more working capital up front. So that's our goal. And we're constantly going to the drawing board and figuring out different creative ways that we can do that. And so, it's always a work in progress for us, right? And we really feel like, we have a great product that gives you multiple ways to get paid, getting you that working capital up front, getting you that cash flow, that you need to grow and scale your business or fund an event or all those things.
Totally.
So, and then you don't have to worry about any of the payment plan process, right? Like that's the big headache for most
Right.
people. That's why a lot of people are trying to get out of it. And that's where we come in.
So you're just so my people, Chase. Like I love I love that your heart is in it. You're so passionate about this, that you clearly are like just so well versed in this industry, and that you're so detail oriented. I love all that. If someone wanted to, they host events or they have digital products and they want to get started adding My Abundant as an option on their checkout pages, what do they do?
So you can go to www.myabundant.com,
Okay.
And fill out a get started form on there, and that'll notify our team. And we usually do a sales call to make sure that it's in alignment with both you and us.
Yeah.
And the process is super easy. It's just an application. We build out your links, and you're off to the races. We don't have any, monthly management fees or anything like that. We the only fee that we charge you is a simple 3% management or platform fee per ticket that you sell or per product that you sell. It's basically the same thing as you're being charged from Stripe or PayPal.
Yeah, I
or
was
these
just
other
thinking.
companies that you're doing processing. So
That's basically the same as the processing fee if we were to use Stripe or PayPal.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like it's It's the same, but you
Super
get more.
simple. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So obviously our goal is to help you grow and scale your revenue and your business, and also cut back on, payroll costs for having to have employees manage those internal payment plans for you and have to,
Right.
or your own time, right? Like one of the first things that one of my mentors taught me when I first started to get into entrepreneurship was my time is most valuable, right? And so he had me go, okay, what's your annual revenue goal? $1 million. Okay, cool. Now divide that by how many hours you want to work per day. And then, so he had me do this conversion of like, okay, you're worth $2,000 an hour based on how many hours you want to be working per day and your revenue goal. This is your hourly rate. So charge accordingly. And I was like, wow, that's, who charges $2,000 an hour? Like lawyers, doctors don't even charge that much, right? But if that's your goal, then you need to build your business and your life around that. And so if you're the one, if you're worth $2,000 an hour and you're the one that's doing all the payment management and collections within your own business, you're losing money. Your time is worth more than that you could be doing more revenue generating activities. So that's our hope, is obviously that we're getting you working capital up front. We're helping you cut costs internally, giving you back your time freedom, your team's time freedom to be able to work on stuff that is actually moving the needle in your business, and being your back end retention team.
And help with a little less stress in the lead up to an event,
Totally.
because it's a stressful time in and of itself.
Totally.
And to eliminate just a little bit of the stress during that time from the money side of things feels like a win-win to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's our goal.
So I will link up My Abundant in the show notes so people know how to find you.
Cool.
Before we wrap up, because I know you're a personal development junkie just like me, I want to know what you're reading right now.
Ooh, that's good. You know what? You caught me in a time that I'm not actually in a book at the moment. What's
the last one you read?
I'm a believer, and so I'm reading some books in regards to my faith.
Oh, I love
right
that.
now. So yeah. So that's kind of what I go through transitions of times that I'm really obviously invested in business and personal development and all that stuff, and then I'm going through kind of I'm so busy during the day that I need that a little bit of reset to like, okay, I need to spend time, in with God in that way. And so that's kind of what my time has been in my free time been spending. So obviously the Bible, and I have some other, books that I'm reading, in regards to my faith. So.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah. I do feel that sometimes there's a time when I need to be, and I just feel like open and available to be learning more, like increasing my capacity, and other times where I just need to turn inwards and like less is more. And I love that you're doing that.
One of my favorite from a business or personal development books, one of my favorite is Traction. I don't know if you've read that before.
I have not read it.
Yeah, I don't remember who the author is. I'll have to you'll have to go and find that. But it's such a great. I mean, if you're in a CEO position, or you're an entrepreneur, trying to figure out how to structure your business well and manage people well, is such a good book. So yeah,
I love that. Today I finished The Psychology of Money. It was so good.
Nice.
And I started 100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozy. And I'm very excited about that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. And because you mentioned it, the podcast that I'm currently listening to is Chris Harder's.
Oh, nice.
It's like it's probably my favorite. And
he's so good.
He is. Yeah. He's always in my ear in between when I'm like, I don't want to read a book today. I'm going to listen to Chris.
He was one of the first guys. So just kind of giving you a background of my relationship with Chris. He was in the network marketing company that Kayla and I were in.
Oh, okay.
And he was one of the first guys that I met. He was like one of the top income earners, and I was just like, that guy is awesome. And I've gotten to, obviously, he's one of my best friends now. And I've gotten to spend a ton of time with him, but he's one of the good ones, man.
Well, that's how I feel
Yeah.
listening to his podcast.
Wealth of information.
Yeah.
He's now in building a lending app, so we
He
have a lot
is.
in common there. So it's been fun, just from a friendship standpoint of like being able to, we just get around and just spitfire all of the stuff that we're learning, and it's a lot of fun.
That's so fun to have that kind of history,
Yeah.
but then also your paths are kind of converging and how
Yeah.
your work life is going. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Love it.
Chase, this has been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait for people to learn more about My Abundant and you. I'll put your links in the show notes. I appreciate you spending the time
Awesome.
today here. I know you're
Yeah, thank you
super
for having
busy
me.
as a CEO and founder, but this has been really special, so thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope that I provided a little bit of value for your audience, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
Take care.